Now,
Yeah.
Doss, you started your own business in Connecticut. Is that correct?
I was self-employed, you know. I
Okay,
didn't
so
start
sort of like
hiring.
solopreneur type deal, right?
Yeah.
And just what'd you do?
Yeah, you know, when I first came to the U.S., as many immigrants, you know, you don't have too many choices. Well, one of the choices is construction, right? And so uh, I was always happy and able to work with my hands, and so I got right into construction. Did handyman work for probably 6 months or so until it led me into more um, complex work, remodeling, and quickly built up, you know, a little clientele. And when I needed help, I'd hire temporary help, and that's what I did for quite a while until I discovered roofing. And
Now, did you
and
discover
so
that in Connecticut or down here?
in Connecticut, in
Okay.
Connecticut, what happened is I had a deck to build for somebody, and under that deck there had to be a flat roof. It was over a room, and and so I had to figure out how to do that. Couldn't find any contractor to do that, and so I just learned. You know, I went to the roofing supply place, and they were kind enough to walk me through the steps of doing a torch down roof. And I discovered that there just wasn't too many guys doing, you know, skilled to do that. And so I learned, and I began to move in that direction, and made that a niche for me. But I still didn't want to pursue a business structure big, because I was also very involved in the ministry, and so I split my time between doing ministry work and working enough to provide for my family, and it was a good living. Coming to Texas 10 years, you know, into my United States experience, my family grew, you know, and when your family grows, your needs grow. And so in 2000, yeah, you know that. By the way, they say when your kids move out, you know, you're all like empty nester, and then it'll cost you less. That's not true. That's not true at all.
Big lie. It used to be that way, not that way anymore.
No, it's not that way at all. But anyway, so coming to Texas, family grows and so forth. And 2005, I said, you know what, I need to develop this thing, and had some guys that I had known up in Connecticut that were skilled. I landed a couple of large apartment jobs, flat roofs, and said, hey, why don't you guys come down here and help me with this project, which they did. And that was early 2008, I believe. You know, the crash had just happened. And so up in that area,
yeah, wow,
there was nothing for them. And so these guys just moved their families down here, and we started the company, Clean Cut. And yeah, and the rest is kind of history now.
Tell me about that a little bit. So you started the company in 2008.
Right? Well, 2005 officially with name and registration and all of that. But 2008, you know, at the bottom of the economy is really when I decided, okay, I'm going to hire permanent employees, which was kind of different, and it's still different today. You know, guys who will work for me as technicians, and I'll keep them busy. They called me their agent, and they were the guys who got it done. You know, I still did the physical work sometimes when needed, but that's how we started. And from there, you know, I hired more. I built the crew, and from there, you know, hired a salesman probably about a year later. Really, first administrative. That was a huge step for me to hire somebody that would do my work. But yeah, from there it just grew, and
so I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So, your labor, that's one thing, right? Like, you know, that work, you're doing that work. Your skill set sounds to me, especially if they called you their agent, you were the guy that procured the work. You were the one that was able to go out and meet clients, convince them that you were or persuade them that you were the right choice for them. And so that was how it went, and probably stayed that way for a little while, I would imagine.
Yep.
And then you went, okay, let's see if I can get somebody to do what I'm doing. Is that your first step of really having somebody outside of crew working for you?
No, my first hire was an office lady, kind of an admin that did my books.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah, all right.
she, yeah, and I had this one room office. It was kind of strange in a way. It was a room, and I still actually rent this particular property as well. Um, it's so strange. If I could show you on camera, your whole audience would be laughing. But it was this one room, and it had a bathroom in the middle, and my desk was on this side, and Maria's desk was on the other side, and then it was just strange. I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's a
she would like, I'm going down the road to get me a coffee, but she really was going to the bathroom. Kind of strange.
yeah, that
Or
was
she would wait till I leave.
uncomfortable situation right there. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, but it was a really small office. So, but yeah, that was my first hire. The second hire then was a salesman that, yeah, I mean, I think I had just read the book Good to Great. It was one of the first business books I read. And from there, it was just learning,
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing. Like this, back in the day, there wasn't anybody that coached or did any of that kind of stuff. So you kind of just learn. And, and it's a little bit of guesswork. Do I hire the admin person first, or do I hire a salesperson that I can afford the admin type of situation? We tend to coach that it has everything to do with your skill set. Like if you are a salesperson, hire your admin first. If you're more an administrative person, then hire your salesperson first. It really has a lot to do with that. Would hire your weakness, right?
I agree.
What made you decide that you were like, was it that book, Good to Great? You read the book and went, okay, I'm going to go ahead and scale this thing up and like make a real business out of this? Because there's so many contractors out there. I mean, so many. We've actually been doing a bit of a study on this, and 10% of the contractors are over $1 million. So 90% are less than $1 million.
Really? Wow.
But of those 90%, 90% of them, so 80% of the overall, are under $200,000 a year in revenue. And a lot of that is because of those first decisions. Like, what do I do to take my first step? Do I hire an admin? Do I hire a salesperson? Do I have the crew? Can I procure the work? There's all these first decisions. And a lot of times we make those decisions, we bring a bunch of extra stuff on us, and now we're out of time. How did you manage that struggle?
Yeah, as far as books that I read, I'm thankful I read that book. I don't know how I came upon it. Somebody must have recommended it. And then from there, I read the book Traction, and that book helped me a lot because I decided I wanted to run my business in a certain way. I want to have some structure to our business and just discovering, yes, a business is about sales. A business is about production, and a business is about finances. Just laying those foundations was very important. So then I realized, well, if it's about those three things, I've got the production down, I've got the sales as much as I can do, but on the financial side and the admin side, I realized that's where I need good support. And
Right.
And so that's what I did. I hired a bookkeeper / person that would answer the phone when they're in the office, but it was part-time, right? And then just increased their time, became a full-time position, and then the salesperson. And then, today we have 5 ladies, and it could have been men, but we have 5 ladies that handle phones and admin work. And really, that's a huge backbone for our business.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimate the value of that. And the way you approach it is like, okay, part-time first, because that's all I can afford probably. But because of that time that you now gain to go out and procure more work, you got more work, you needed more admin help, more financial help. And so that thus turned it into a full-time job for them.
Yeah.
I wish more contractors follow that path. Like, okay, if that's the thing that frees me up, the thing I'm not good at.
Yeah. I also decided, I'll put my trust in a CPA. I'll hire a CPA, and that'll be my CPA from now on. And that's the person that's still my CPA. And I don't always like what they tell me,
No,
or how they handle things, but it's kept me, I'm not worried about getting audited or anything like that. I've done my best.
It's a good check and balance. Whenever we throw all of our eggs in one basket, like, hey, I've got a bookkeeper, so my bookkeeper is going to do the thing for me. They're going to take care of my finances, run my QuickBooks, do all of that. If they don't have some kind of check and balance, you open up opportunity for all kinds of not great things to happen. You could get an audit and she's not doing it correctly.
Yeah.
You open up this trust factor thing, like, is she doing things the right way with my books? I actually went through it. I had a person that I trusted as my bookkeeper / CPA, and she ended up procuring a few dollars from us. Let's just put it that way. And so having that balance of that CPA to kind of keep you grounded financially and smart about your money, but also keeping your bookkeeping a check and balance on that probably gave you a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There was always this, everything is getting checked by the CPA. I mean, the CPA is the one that double checks everything we do and takes full responsibility. So, again, as much as that, in my very early years, I didn't do that. I remember going a couple of years one time without a bookkeeper, and just being self-employed, but making good money, and then all of a sudden discovering, oh no, I owe the IRS a lot of money. And that was not a good, I never want to have that feeling again. That was not good. So
I can remember that one too.
My soul,
wait a minute.
Man.
That check I got to write to the IRS is bigger than my wife's whole year. Like, I can remember her just saying that. Like, that's more than I make in a year, and you got to write a check for that. I go, yeah, and that like taps me. Yeah. Like, we got to start over and figure this out. That was when I went, okay, CPAs and all that other good stuff too.